That's the question a lot of fans are asking with young A.T. Perry coming in and a lot of hype around him from not only training camp, but also his week 1 performance in preseason. Now, do want to add the caveat that we are talking preseason football. So let's not pretend like he was, just dominating prime Darrelle Revis. But at the same time, certainly a lot of things you can take a look at in this video and see, well, lots to like, lots to keep watching and see what else he does throughout the rest of camp. And season, this is a guy that I had before camp. I really was confident he was going to make the roster. Seems to be in that same position. Couple notes real quick before we jump into the film study. One, remember, as always, a singular film study you find on YouTube is not enough to build a full scouting report on a player. Cannot tell you if they're good or bad, but can hopefully help you identify some of the traits in either direction. And number 2, to give you a little rewind/recap, mostly playing split end/X, which is Michael Thomas's position. So could be lining himself up to be the number 1 backup to MT, as well as coming in at various plays, maybe playing in the slot here or there in 4-man wide if he does make the roster. But how about this? Let's go ahead and take a look at the tape, and yeah, let's go. All right, so this is going to be the first play that we see A.T. Perry really pop off, and this is a 17-yard comeback route. So I'm going to play it first, let you see it. I'm going to explain it. This is what's known as a triangle read, as in it forms a triangle that you can kind of see there that results in spreading the defense. You do this a lot versus zone defense. This is a single side, so half field read, and we'll pause it right at the triangle so you can see what I'm talking about. See how it literally forms a triangle right here. The goal is you're going to put pressure on the zone, and then you're going to have to cover a larger area, and you can do this by using fewer players. You're going against 4 guys, technically 5 if you count the safety, but you're splitting them and finding a hole in that zone right there. Some people ask, hey, how do you know it's zone? Well, one easy identifier is look at the eyes. If you take a look at all these KC defenders here, look at their eyes. They are all staring at the quarterback. Basics of zone is you play the ball. Basics of man is you play the man. So let's rewind it real quick and we'll talk about how this ends up working. So I think it's a great read by Winston to correctly choose where to go, but you're going to have about a 17-yard comeback route. You're going to have motion here that brings up here on this side, and then you're going to hit the flats with the running back. So pretty good read from both Winston, and I like the route here. You're going to see a comeback route from A.T. Perry a few different times in this film study. Gets in. I love the sinking of the hips. A little bit choppy at times, and what I mean, a little heavy-footed at times when he gets into this comeback, but this one is completely clean. That pass could have been a little bit better, but keeps his receiver safe, hits the ground. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, finished up. So good route, love the concept. And one thing that I did notice when going through this is the Saints offense certainly did better conceptually attacking a defense than some of the things that we saw early last year. So maybe a good sign, but also good route by A.T. Perry. But let's keep on looking at another. All right, so this one's going to be his touchdown. This is where they're in trips bunch to the right. He's going to have a deep crossing pattern. Kansas City shows a 2 high. They're going to rotate out of it into single, and that actually makes this the perfect read and play for our man, A.T. Perry. Now, I do have a complaint on this one, but I'll save that to the end of the play. It's a great read by Winston to check the safety, sees the safety coming down, knows that has opened it up to where we now have that backside big zone way open, and since Perry has beat his man, it's easy, go over the top. Fantastic throw, by the way. You talk about Winston being in his bag when it comes to throws. He's in his bag on that one. And A.T. Perry with a great catch. Let's talk about the initial design of the route. What you're going to end up having Perry do is a deep cross, and then when he gets to about that 12-yard mark, he's going to cut pretty sharp, trying to make a little bit of separation and make sure that he's on top of the route. You don't want the DB on top of you. Then you're going to have on this backside, we're going to be going opposite directions. So we're kind of creating a conflict for that deep safety. The deep safety's now got to monitor both sides. If it's a single high, that makes it almost impossible to guard the field unless you have absolutely insane range of motion. If you are in a 2 deep, it still is going to make it a little bit difficult, but it'll be easier. So let's go ahead and run it. We're going to talk about hot reads or anything like that. Just simple release. I like the quick release. It forms a little separation. He's going to lean into. The purpose of leaning into your DB in this instance is you actually want him to try to get a little bit more vertical. You want to get him off your hip. Might seem counterintuitive or might sound counterintuitive to get him off your hip by leaning into him. It's exactly what you're going to do, because as soon as he hits his break at about 4 yards, look here, bam, cut outside. Now, what that has done is create about a yard of separation, but more importantly, with A.T. Perry's speed, he's now at the top of the route. He is in control, and he has the leverage. Now you just got to have the pass. Great job by Winston. And this is one that really is great throw, great catch. My one negative here, I don't want to get into that whole Des Bryant several years ago Dallas Cowboys thing, but hold on to the daggone football. I mean, AT, I'm going to give you a lot of praise in this video, but in this one, hold on to the daggone football. I don't care, because I don't need a ref going, well, maybe he fumbled right there and it went out the end zone. You know, I want to have conclusive proof 100%. We don't need any type of oopsies. Everything else is beautiful, though. Love the catch. Love how he extends and high points the ball. Like I said, it's a fantastic throw by Winston to just really get above that DB. Great job by A.T. Perry to go get it, turn around, reach for the goal line, TD. Beautiful play. Just hold on to the damn football. Just please hold on to that football. Hey, Saints fans, real quick, if you want to support the channel, check out our merch store. Link in the description below. It's revdeuce.com. But check out the Saints podcast section where you can get coolest shirts, coolest cups, coolest hats. Oh, and that hat have you all ready for Easter. Look how crispy it is in the white on white. Support your channel, support film studies, support your podcast. revdeuce.com. Thank you. All right, so we're back at it again. This time we're going to have the same concept on both sides of the ball, but New Orleans changes it up a little bit with who they have running it. So Jimmy Graham's going to catch this one, but these are the same reads, and I understand why you go Jimmy here. He's a bigger target, probably going to be more of a reliable catch, but you're going to run it slightly different on both sides. So on the A.T. Perry side, he's going to be the deep option for the deep out, and then your short out's going to be right underneath it from the inside guy who's actually running the split end position. Technically, this is on the line of scrimmage. And then down here, the guy who's on the line of scrimmage is going to do the deep one. And then you're going to have Jimmy Graham come in for the shallow. There's really nothing wrong with this play design at all. It's the same thing on opposite sides with a slight tweak. And either read would have worked. You could have gone Perry here if you wanted to. In terms of it being a first down play, good, easy completion. All I really wanted to do was show the separation and the recognition. And also the timing. So one thing about these plays, and you see a lot from younger wide receivers and even younger tight ends, anybody's doing the catch passing, pass catching. Yeah, words, they're hard. Anyone who's doing that is having in timing. It's not just about beating your guy, but it's about being ready to receive a throw. And this is actually a great of Jimmy Graham. Like, he's a yard shorter, but what did that yard shorter do? It allowed him to get his head around and catch the ball. Whereas James Washington, not looking. Perry, not looking yet. Now, I'm not knocking Perry for that. We're just saying that one thing that you want to see him improve on is perfect timing. And great receivers have great timing, as in they know when the quarterback hits his 3, 5, 7, etc. step drop, where exactly that I need to be, when I need to make my break, and how quickly I need to get to my spot. This is not a negative on Perry. I think, in fact, if Winston had wanted to go left side, he's going to throw this ball, and Perry's going to be expected to catch it as he's turning into it. Good route, completely fine. Just felt like that was a really good opportunity to kind of show, hey, this is what you need to do. Present a target, and timing is so critical. And little plays like this are a great way to see some of that, because Winston in the shotgun is at what's known as a 3-step drop depth, and he's going to drop to 5-step. Bam, bam. That's 5-step drop. Now he's reading the field. You can already see we're starting to turn, present. See how he's presented as the ball is releasing? I'm not saying Jimmy Graham is still an elite player, but that is a great example of timing. They know exactly when to present and to receive, and hopefully young guys get that as well. So anyway, not necessarily about AT, but about wide receiver and receiving play in general. We're going to have a short crossing pattern here from AT. He's going to get rerouted just a little bit, but I love, so there's a negative here. You call it a negative, I guess. A negative and a positive in this play. So one thing about AT, when you talk about his size, he's not the biggest and strongest wide receiver. I would love to see him get a little bit stronger there, but I love him playing through the contact here, and more importantly, recognizing what he's facing, zone underneath, and sitting. So I can't say without actually seeing the playbook in this one, what probably is the call for this crossing pattern is if it's zone, you sit. If it's man, you run. That's probably the call here. What I mean by that is if he's coming from down here and you see it's zone, you're going to sit right in between the zones. If you see that it's man, you're going to keep going and then trail out, hopefully dragging your defender with you. That's probably what the call is. Can't say for certain, but going by this is what it is. So to do that, you have to, one, recognize what you're facing, and two, know exactly where to sit so that you're about equal distance between both zone defenders, thus making it easier for you to present a target and for you to get the pass from the quarterback. So he does just that, sits in the lane. He's a little bit shallow. I'd like him to be a little bit deeper in this route, but this is that point about him getting rerouted. Play strong and fight through that. Want to be at least at the 25, not the 24. 1 yard might not seem like a lot. That's the difference between a first down and not a first down on a 3rd and 10, right? So you want to get 5 yards versus 4, better play. But either way, really good job to sit, recognize, and present a target, catch the ball. Also, one other slight critique, his turn in. He needs to turn inside, not outside. The reason being is he can see that zone defender, knows exactly where he is. The other guy is farther behind, needs to know that where those defenders are in terms of where their zones are. You're more likely to get yards by turning inside than outside. But honestly, great job operating in that short one. He's essentially the dump off man. So good play by AT. All right, so top of your screen now. It's going to be a back shoulder. Really, really like this one. This is him playing through that contact. But also one of the things that you're going to notice about A.T. Perry when you watch him is how crisp he is at his start and go, his stop and go. And you see him right there, sink his hips, twist around, and then bam, there's the football. This is one of my favorite plays from him. We talk about how good the touchdown passes is, and everybody loves touchdowns. But if you really want to see a wide receiver show that he has next level traits, how is he playing through contact? Does he still manage to get to his spot? And when he gets to his spot, how quickly does he adjust to present a target? You're going to hear me say that a lot. Presenting a target is so important. It's not just about being able to catch the ball. It's about being able to be in a position to catch the ball. So right here, yeah, we can argue he's going against second and third string DBs, and that's fine. He's going to work his way up. But I love the release, playing through the contact here, knowing that he's got to set up that back shoulder. So what does he do? He attacks outside, tries to take that leverage, and then he's going to break, bloop. And that is a crispy bacon break, y'all. Like, that is a very quick, sudden change of direction. Love to see it. And you can see about how extended the DB is, trying to match it. And then I love the final part here. I'm going to run it one more time in full speed. Look how quickly he recognizes the ball in the air, gets his hands on it, and attacks it with his hands. He's not just catching it with his body. He actually goes out, grabs it, turns, and this is where he does a good job. Get that first down. Really, really nice play here on a back shoulder throw that is as difficult to throw as it is to catch, because you got to react very quickly while creating the space needed. There's got to be a lot of trust between the wide receiver and the quarterback. So loved this play, this little back shoulder. Hopefully see more of this type of stuff throughout the entire team throughout the season. Really good play. All right, so I chose to include this one because I think this is a great example of why you kept A.T. Perry and you cut the veteran in Washington. Now, neither player ends up with the pass. It actually ends up being a sack, and I'm not going to talk about whose fault the sack is or whatever. But what I want to talk about is what this concept is. This is actually a concept that you see New Orleans run a lot. They've run it with Peyton. They've run it with Carmichael. They've run it for years. So you're going to have two deep comeback routes. I remember doing a film study quite a bit ago. How long ago was it? Probably about 3 years when we talked about this being Michael Thomas versus like Keith Kirkwood, I think it was, and showing the differences between sitting and how quickly someone can sink their hips, transfer their energy to the ground, and then turn. And that is the difference between making a 1 yard separation and a 3 yard separation. So what this play is, you're just going to attack the flats right here, and then you're going to have a deep comeback on both sides of the ball. Now, why I told you to focus on both receivers is look at the actual point where they break off the route, sink down, and come back. Right there. Do you see the difference between the two? A little bit of a choppy, heavy-footed by our guy in Perry, but at the same time, it's crisp, it's sudden, and it's immediate, whereas James Washington's a little more rounded off. Now, I'm not saying Washington's a bad receiver or a bad player. In fact, he's definitely got some veteran savvy, but you see his choppy turn, whereas you see A.T. Perry is chop around. It's sudden, and that is the difference between separation and receiving a pass and allowing the DB that half second they need to match you and potentially result in a pass breakup. Now, because of the blitz and everything, Winston's not able to get the ball out. You could definitely see that you have a wide open, ready to receive this football A.T. Perry, sinking his hips, getting down. Again, a little bit choppy and blocky. It's not perfect, something that he can work on and get even more fluid at, but it is really nice. And the thing I like about the most is it's not a turn. It's a crisp stop present, whereas Washington is a chop to present. So this, I just chose to use this play. Yeah, you do have an underneath defender there that makes the Washington throw less likely, but more of looking at their technique. It's subtle. It's not anything crazy, but great example of why the young guy is maybe an option of the future where Washington wasn't, because they did end up releasing Washington after this game. So next play. This is the human highlight reel. Look at the top of your screen. Just watch it. Just watch. Ooh. Okay, let's talk about what we just saw, ladies and gentlemen. That was a great job both at the release to cook him and down to cut back to come back to your quarterback. So I wish Winston made this throw. I really do. So at the break, so you see the line of scrimmage, you're going to break outside. Immediate. Great job with that left hand to swipe. Get that DB's hands off of you. Because one thing we talked about A.T. Perry not having the greatest is play strength. So how do you avoid that problem? Simple. Don't let them get hands on you. And if you're playing a little bit off ball or they're playing off ball in their coverage, then you're going to fight their hands and get that leverage, break around. Exactly what it does here. Quick step, immediately has, bam, right there. And you can see he's calling for the ball. And sadly, Winston doesn't go for it. I wish Winston did. He ends up going for Taysom Hill, which I guess is whatever. But even after that, watch what happens at the top. So AT's like, well, ball didn't come to me. Don't see the ball out. So how about with this? We're going to crack it on back. Break it on back, just in case my quarterback is in trouble. He's having to break out and scramble. Well, what do? In a scramble drill, you're taught to work towards your quarterback. Work the sidelines. Exactly what he does here. He comes back to present a target just in case that pressure had gotten to him. Maybe that's what he saw when he looked back. He saw a lot of white and no Winston. Either way, he ends up cooking this DB twice in one route. That's some good jambalaya right there, man. That's some good seasoning in it. Ain't no bland boiled goose. Whew. That made me happy. Just do it about 1 billion more times and you'll be a Hall of Famer. Go for it, young man. All right, this was just going to be a quick little example of zone recognition, just him sitting in the zone again. Like to show him doing some of these shorter routes. And this is just a real nice little in route, but he sits it. Again, this is one where maybe it's set to continue if it was man coverage. But an in route is basically exactly as it sounds. Most of them are going to go 5, maybe 7 yards. Simple in, cut. Now the difference here is he sits it versus zone. I love the recognition. He sees what the defense is doing, understands what they're in, knows what he's got to do, presents the target, catch the ball, go down. 5 yards. You'll take a 5-yard play on first down any day of the week. It ain't pretty, it ain't beautiful, but damn, it's effective and it puts you in a much better position to win. To do that, he had good recognition to see the zone coverage, know how to attack it, sit right in it. Thumbs up. All right, last one we're going to look at. This one I'm real curious. Do we see the Saints use more of? Because we haven't seen an effective tunnel screen receiver since prime Michael Thomas. It's been a while. And this isn't the best use or the best run of the tunnel screen. For those who are not familiar with the tunnel screen concept, let me draw it out for you real quick to help explain. So the tunnel screen, different than something like maybe you've heard of bubble screens, wide receiver screens, etc. But the tunnel screen is unique. Because what you're going to do is you're going to have your inside guy block out, but you're also going to pull 2 offensive linemen to come block out here as well. So your idea is you're going to block out, and then you're going to hitch in, catch, is where you catch it, and then you're going to go behind the tunnel. So see how you're making a tunnel? You're going to have the wall of the tunnels on this side. You've got your natural boundary here. So this is a tunnel screen. Sorry for all the John Madden drawing, but hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. So haven't seen somebody run this super effectively in a while. New Orleans will have one of their offensive linemen get caught up in a blitz here. But still, good use of the tunnel screen, good recognition. He follows the blocks. He ends up going through the tunnel instead of going, I guess, into the wall of the tunnel. But either way, still good use of the blocks. You get a positive gain. Good play, right? Kansas City does a pretty good job of recognizing it, kind of blowing it up a little bit. Offensive linemen aren't able to really get out and make a stop. So that kind of is what it is. Great recognition by number 43 there for Kansas City to come out and try to make a play. And still a positive game for New Orleans, but it doesn't go real big. But something I'm very curious about to see if New Orleans runs more of these, because this was something they used to do a lot of. Yeah, that's it. All right, so that's A.T. Perry, week 1. Is it enough for us to say that's him? Like he's the guy? No, not yet. But if you didn't watch this video and see several positive traits and things that we look for in wide receivers to make you go, wow, more reps, let's see more of that, then I don't know what you were looking at. Definitely a very positive game for AT. Couple negatives here and there, things he can improve on. And guess what? He's not a first round, ready to go elite wide receiver, and that's okay. In terms of what he's doing right now, preparing and playing as the backup to Michael Thomas, I actually really loved his tape. Really enjoyed studying it, and even though it's only one game and about 30 snaps, mostly good positive stuff. Hopefully we get to see more of him in the upcoming preseason games and maybe even during the regular season. But early looks, some good stuff. Let me know what you thought. Simple as this in the comment section down below. Literally this, and do me a huge solid if you wouldn't mind. All right, please share us out on Discord, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and more importantly, share with other Hoodats so they can see some film studies of their own. Appreciate every single one of you. Hoodat, God bless. Catch you on the next one and on the podcast. Deuces. I'm out. Hey, Saints fans, real quick, if you want to support the channel, check out our merch store. Link in the description below. It's revdeuce.com. But check out the Saints podcast section where you can get coolest shirts, coolest cups, coolest hats. Oh, and that hat have you all ready for Easter. Look how crispy it is in the white on white. Support your channel, support film studies, support your podcast. revdeuce.com.